Hey guys, J-Man here, and we're back once again with another versus. This time it's an 80s fantasy versus. I put up a David Paul tribute there. He passed away in 2020. We don't know what happened. His brother just confirmed he passed away in his sleep. That's it. There's like zero information on this at all. I thought since we're covering the Barbarians, I'd throw that up there. It was in March, so 2020 March. So I guess it's interesting that we're doing this on a March. So thought I'd put that up there with everybody. Quagnar, you're already here being Hercules being shown as against. Oh yeah. Oh, I love that. So today starts the first round for the 80s fantasy versus, and we're doing the male division first completely, and then we'll do a female division. These are the films in question right now. We've got Lou Ferrigno Hercules Part 1, The Barbarians, Peter Paul, David Paul, Hawk the Slayer. We've got Ator. We've got The Warrior and the Sorceress, The Sword and the Sorcerer, Deathstalker, and Conquest. So today we're going to be doing Hercules versus the Barbarians. The winner of that will take on the winner of Hawk the Slayer and Ator. And then, so you'll see how that goes out. Now, we're going to do 4 streams for the first round. So 1 stream today of just Hercules and Barbarians. Then we'll do Hawk and Ator and Conquest and Deathstalker and Sword and Sorcerer, or the 2 Sorcerer movies. And then the 5th stream will be the winners in 1 stream. Last time we separated these out and we actually did a qualifying stream per movie. So this time around, we just did a qualifier stream where we picked the final 8. So that stream is available in the Versus playlist. So if you want to know the rules and how we got to these 4 movies, please watch that stream. That'll explain it all. And you guys might be questioning, well, how come yours is not on this list? Or, how come Masters of the Universe is not on this list? Or how come Arnold Schwarzenegger's Conan the Barbarian? How can you possibly do a fantasy tournament without Conan the Barbarian? Well, all of that is explained on that other preliminary versus live stream, which is on the versus playlist in my section of playlists. Okay. So that is that. We do have a few people here joining me to figure out which movie is going to be the winner tonight. And for anybody new, I'm going to explain how it all works once we get everybody in here and start talking about it. So let's bring in our first co-host here. Hey, Steve.
Hey, J-Man. Quick, also Lance Reddick, the hotel concierge from John Wick, passed away.
Yes.
To hear that.
Yeah, well, we did hear that. So yeah, that sucks too. So it's just like we don't want to start off on a sad note, but it is what it is. So okay, let's bring in our next co-host. Hey, Charlie.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah, I don't want to be negative about it, but that guy was only like 61 or something like that and was just promoting John Wick 4 like a week ago.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Now, Sean is going to join us. He's going to be a little late. He just messaged me, so that's fine. The way this is going to work tonight is that we're just going to quickly talk about our experience with the 2 movies in question, and then we'll get into, I'll explain how the verses will work, and then we'll start actually doing it. So I know Steve's Steve has a bit of a thing. Okay, let's just start with Steve because I think his is the simplest one.
It's the easiest one to get through. Very quick.
But I've got something very interesting. Once Sean comes on, I have a feeling when Sean comes on and he tells his story, there's going to be sort of a mini revelation, and Steve, you're gonna be somewhat important. So I'll explain. Yeah, I'll explain that after. All right. So, Steve, what's your relationship to these two films?
Okay, so I'll go through the easiest one first. This is the first time I saw Barbarians.
Right.
That's it. First time I heard of Barbarians. First
Right.
time anything. Hercules. J-Man used to host these movie days, and usually be 4 movies. He did horror. He did post-apocalyptic, and one magical afternoon, we did fantasy, and it was Jason the Argonauts, and it was and the 2 Hercules, and there was one more, and I can't remember.
It was Stella Star Crash, because we ended up finding out that the same director. We're like, oh my god, that's the same director. And it was like so weird. We're like, I did not, and I didn't even plan it that way. Oh, hold on, before you let's Sean just popped in, so let's just bring Sean in right now. Spoilers. Hey,
there's Sean.
There he is.
All right, Steve's just telling us his history with the movies, and then we'll continue on. All right, go on, Steve.
So and that was the afternoon that someone was invited, and he talked through all 4 movies.
Oh yes.
But I did watch, and I did enjoy what I saw. So in some respects, this Hercules, like, I remember most of it, but it was nice to actually sit there in peace and quiet and actually watch the movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to find what was that called? What did I call those? Fantasy Day or something? Or
I have the ticket still. I could probably just go get it.
I was like, no, yeah, because I would do tickets. Like I found the flyer I made for one of them. I'll throw the flyer up. So this one I did. So just so Charlie can even see, and just for people, anyone ever cares. So I would do flyers. So here's one of the flyers I made up. So it was Shout Factory Day at J-Man's Cave, which is my place, July, this is 2014. So we did Saturn 3 Blu-ray presentation. We did a horror show. We did Night of the Comet. And then we did, I had a Night of the Comet board game that I created. And I would do like prizes and, whatever stuff. Because I own a lot of CDs and music and everything, so I would do like, I think we did Cherry 2000.
Yeah.
And I still have one of the posters.
Me too.
So you have one of the, yeah. I think I like your poster better than the one. No, I like both posters. So I'd have them printed out like large format posters rolled up, and I have the soundtrack for Cherry 2000, which is like by Basil Polidorus, which is effing hard to get, and it's a great soundtrack. Yeah. And that is one of the soundtracks, I believe. If it's not, I can give it to you guys. But yeah, so I made copies of that. So I would do I would do all that. And I did Hercules. It was like Hercules 1 and 2 Star Crash, and
it was Jason the Argonauts.
Oh, Jason the Argonauts, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the first time you saw Hercules, and did you rewatch it again for tonight?
I did because I needed to, especially with like I said, I was being distracted heavily, so it was better to go back. And plus, that was like, we're talking 10 years ago, probably.
Right.
So good to go back and rewatch it, because I mean, movies I've loved for I love that movie. Like, I haven't seen it for 10 years. I gotta go rewatch it, because then you may find out you don't like it so much anymore.
Yeah, you might be like, what the heck? This wasn't as good as I thought it was.
It happens a lot.
Unfortunately. Childhoods are ruined when you become an adult.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so I guess, Sean, what's your relationship to the two movies?
I don't know the first time I saw these, so it's like
childhood or
yeah, it's like because both these I think Barbarians is 86, 87 or something like that. 87? Okay, yep. So I must have been maybe, like, it would take a year for it to go on VHS, so I was probably 11 or something when I saw that. And that was on TV all the time, and I think Hercules is on TV all the time, and like both Herculeses. And so I just grew up with these films. It's like I'm pretty familiar with both. It's funny, J-Man, you were saying that you hadn't seen Barbarian since you were a kid. I feel like I've seen it a lot over the years. Like, because there's a channel here called I think it was called Movie Picks or something like that, but they played it all the time too. Okay, so Steve, I don't know if you remember this. J-Man, I know you remember that. Do you remember Craftmatic Theater?
Let me look.
Remember this? It was brought to you by Craftmatic, and the thing was, every 10 minutes they'd cut to this old guy in a bed, and he's like, "Are you enjoying the movie? I'm enjoying my Craftmatic adjustable bed." You know.
Oh my God, you're right. Yes.
All they played was Barbarian movies. They played
you're right.
Hercules. They played Conan. They played both Conans. They play. It's like Barbarian movies and this old guy in a bed.
I remember dude. Yes, the Craftmatic adjustable bed. Yes.
Yeah,
and I remember
buying one because they
I wanted one so badly.
Yes.
And the thing is that because it transformed. Do you know what this is, Charlie, or is this a Canadian thing?
No, I know what Craftmatic is. Yeah,
okay.
We had them down here too. Yeah,
because it would crunch, and then it'd be like that or whatever. You're like, oh, this is so good. Like you feel like
it was like one of the first adjustable bed type things that now is like so commonplace. But Craftmatic, that's what it was called here too. It was Craftmatic.
Yeah, I don't think the block was called Craftmatic Theater, but that's what I called it, because like you tune in, it's like a matinee movie.
Yeah.
And then it's brought to you by Craftmatic. And then I swear I timed it every 10 minutes. It would cut back to this guy.
Awesome though. I wouldn't even be mad. I would just yeah.
It's like it's two forms of entertainment in one, you know. So
real.
I want to be an old man in a Craftmatic bed watching Barbarian movies.
And always Barbarian movies. I don't know why.
Nothing wrong with that, man. I'm down. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, these two movies are awesome. So
all right.
It's Battle of the Muscles, man.
Yeah. All right, so Charlie, what's your relationship to the two movies?
So Hercules, I had not seen since I was like 8 years old. Like I think I really just watched it one time, and it's one of those that just kind of got lost in obscurity to me. I've always known Ferrigno was Hercules and that stuff, but the Barbarians, I watched that movie all the time. It was another one of those R-rated movies that I found after the fact, and it was like, okay, I watched Conan, I watched all these movies. What else is there? And I found this movie with these two twin brothers, and I just fell in love with it. And then I found out they had other movies, like their action movies, Double Trouble, things like that. And I was just like, I'm in. I love this so much. So I've watched Barbarians way more, like even recently, than Hercules. Actually, this week. Today is the first time I watched Hercules since I was like 8 years old. So it was a way back machine for me. Like I was just like, whoa, holy shit, man. I had glimpses, that thing where like I kind of remember this, but I'm also watching it almost brand new again. And it was just like, holy crap. And then Barbarians I've watched probably twice this week already.
My camera's doing that weird thing again. It must be my USB. All right, I'm just gonna leave it for now and see how it goes. It was Steve and I had real issues last stream. It was crazy, but it was like going like crazy flicker. I don't know. It's a brand new camera. It's HD. It's been good this whole time. Maybe it might be my USB connector.
Could be.
But because I have an extension connector.
Oh yeah. So
anyway, yeah, for me, I watched the Lou Ferrigno, both Hercules movies a bunch of times. I have the posters for all these movies. I have like the British quad poster. I have the thin poster. I've got like duplicates, folded and rolled one sheets of the Lou Ferrigno poster. I love both posters. They're awesome. I like both movies. I had them on VHS. Hercules 2 is really hard to get. I got it from the downtown Toronto guy who sold it in his house.
Yes.
That guy who had a house.
Videodrome or
Video. Yeah. What was that guy's name? Not Videodrome.
No.
Videodrome, awesome.
Something like that. It's
like Video Room. Video Room.
I think it's
Movie Room.
Is it Movie Room?
No, anyway. Movie Room was someone else.
I went there a few times. It was weird. Yeah. It was a guy's house.
It was a guy's house. Yeah. So it's like
I just want to picture you guys went to James Wood's garage and bought DVDs and VHSs. That's what the Videodrome. Yeah, I was in that. Here, you got a free copy with everything you got from me.
There was another guy. Just quickly, there's another guy who had screenings in his house, and he would advertise like the movie, and you think you're going to a theater, and this is a man's house, and his wife. I swear to God, I don't know if he's allowed to do that, but I went there twice. So
if it was a good movie playing, man, no harm. Was there
Yeah.
popcorn? Like, did they have snacks and shit and everything for you there? while you
No,
were there?
the wife was making him dinner, and you could.
I'm gonna unplug my camera, so it might take me out for a second. So just
Okay.
keep that in mind.
We'll
Yeah.
keep talking about this weird place, Sean.
Yeah, it's like I went because he's showing banned cartoons and stuff. Like, you know, all
Oh,
the
that's
stuff
even
he's
better.
listed.
This is
Yeah.
even better. I love
He-
it. It's
His living room was all hollow except for these fold out chairs, and then he projected the movie on this big, like, you know, kind of sheet, and that's how you saw the movie. And when you walk in, he's all jovial, hey, how's it going? And then he's like, and then his face goes super serious. Is like $7.50, and then you have to pay in the money, and he gets on with it. Yeah, I know. Toronto's a weird place.
that's
Especially if you're a
a
movie
totally
fan,
different
like, yeah.
time, man. That would never fly now.
Yeah, I know.
Period.
Never.
No, and it was a guy's house that it'd be like, yeah, it's all cool, and you're like, okay, and then it's like, yeah, you owe me money. It's like, oh, okay.
I know I was like young, so I think back and I kind of cringe. I'm like, ooh, anything can
Yeah.
happen, right? You know, yeah.
You were almost like sold to someone. You
Yeah.
realize that, right, Sean?
Wake up with a scar where my kidneys are, you know.
Oh my God. Oh, it's
You come from
different
a time
time.
where you didn't question that sort of thing.
No, it's
Go
like,
into some
it's-
stranger's house that advertised I'm playing movies,
yeah.
banned naughty cartoons. Totally fine. It's totally fine.
It's like,
Okay, so I'll play this. I'll play this one.
I just had a Tiffany epiphany.
Don't go to
Yeah.
other people's houses
Yeah, no, no.
to watch movies. There's your epiphany.
Kids don't do that. We have streaming for a reason now,
Thank
apparently.
yeah, you don't know it's a house until you get there. The decision is made when you see it and it's a house. And you're like, dare I? And
No,
you know,
I think the decision was, well, I'm already here. I
Yeah,
might as well
that's
go
pretty
for
much.
it.
well, it's like I'm taking a bus and all that. It's like 5 buses to get there. I'm like, well, I made the trek, man. It's like, you know, I was like 19 or something. I was like, "Oh."
Oh my God.
That's like the Fun House, the movie The Fun House.
Yeah,
the tagline:
Yeah,
"Pay to get in, pray to get out."
Yeah.
pretty much. Now here's the real question. Did you only do this once? Or
No, I
did
did
you do
twice.
this?
You know, you let me-
Yeah, I was like, you know
Went
what?
back.
It seems safe. Whatever. I'll go again. You know.
yeah, why
The
not?
thing is, it was a known place. It's like people went there. So
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there was a nice group of gentlemen that went to that place. It's totally fine.
Patty, relax.
Wearing trench coats.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's the whole stream right there, and it was worth every day. Good God.
Well, so yeah, I hadn't watched.
Go
I hadn't
ahead,
watched
Jay, man.
Barbarians.
Try to-
It's like
try to
I'm,
top
I'm yeah, go for it. No, so I hadn't watched Barbarians in a long time. That's it. So I have it. I have them both on Blu-ray. So I hadn't watched them in a long time, and I'm like really nervous about this stream because like I don't know. I had a pretty clear idea of what I thought was like better, but now I'm not so sure. And then when I started looking at the other movies, I'm like, is this the finals? Because like it almost feels like this. And Sean and I went to go see Shazam. Spoilers, we liked it,
yeah.
so
I
we
liked
can't
it.
bitch about a movie. We're stunned. We actually walked out. We're like, we liked it, and then we said Steve missed out on a pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Oh my god!
I literally I was like, I think Steve would have really liked this because you didn't even. You don't read you never read Captain Marvel comic. The only people who don't like this are the hardcore Captain Marvel fans of the original Captain
Right,
Marvel.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I
I'm a
understand
power-
that. And because
I
of,
understand it too.
Yeah, because of Zachary
No, it's
Levi's performance, it's the
It's-
same
it-
as
yeah.
part 1. You
Yeah,
know?
it's
So if
not-
you're annoyed by that, then yeah.
It's not the original Captain Marvel, but unfortunately, it is the current Shazam character from the last 15 years at least, if not
Yeah.
a bit more.
Where
I
he's
don't-
not smart. Yeah.
Right. I don't know what to tell you. That it is the comic. It is the modern comics.
Comic.
I'll say I
Um,
just watched Shazam a couple weeks ago for the first time. I'd literally been
enjoyable.
sleeping on that movie. I had a blast watching
Yeah.
it. I was like, "Holy shit, this is actually really good." So if you guys like the sequel, then I'm excited to watch it. Then
Yeah,
because-
and I thought part 1 was enjoyable too, but I'm a my guy's Power Shazam. That's the comic I read. I have every issue of that. So
Yeah.
for 4 years, Jerry Ordway is my guy for Shazam.
Yeah.
And it's not that either. it's like that Shazam was closer to the original Captain Marvel. This isn't
Mhm.
that either. So anyways, if you don't care about or know about that character, then this movie is fine as an entertainment
Yeah.
movie. But anyways, so we saw that, we're like, so we started talking, of course, we're like, oh yeah, tomorrow night, or, you know, you ready for tomorrow night? And I was like, I don't know, man. It's like, what do you mean you don't know? I don't know. Like, this is going to be crazy. So
Yeah.
we came to an epiphany, which is that Steve has become the most important person on the stream today.
Yeah,
Because
Steve,
because he doesn't know
Steve's he's like,
because-
holy shit.
right, because see, Sean liked both movies. I gravitated to Hercules because that's what I've seen the most. Charlie seen Barbarians most, right? So it all kind of equaled out. I'm like, well, Steve's the only one that never really saw any of them and is really watching them now, brand new. So I don't even know. Okay, I mean, we're gonna use my space thing for this. So for people watching, the way that this versus works is that I use my space system for reviews: story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score, and that's how I do my movie reviews, right? So I just posted my Shazam review. I gave a score out of 10, but we're not going to do a score. We're going to compare. So what we're going to look at the story first, and then we're going to say, which movie do you think has the better story and why? And that's who gets a vote. And when it's all done, we'll see who gets the most votes, and that's going to be the winner. If I was doing my space review and actually giving my, you know, numerical value, both movies came out tied, but they did get different ratings
In different categories.
in different categories.
Yeah.
However, enjoyment factor, which is what it comes down to in real life, right? Like surely, you know, in my mathematical space world, I can make a number, but really you're like, did you like this movie or not? And I love both movies. So they're both equal in that sense. And I don't know, we're going to have to discuss it. So I'm almost thinking that maybe Steve should just go first on all of these things, just to see where he's at. And then maybe
he's our control.
He's the control group, right? So we just go off of that and see what he thinks.
Steve's
and then
so
I'll
excited.
decide.
Look at him. He's
I know,
like,
he's like, this is my thing or whatever. Yeah.
My time to shine, boys. Here we go.
There you go.
Yeah. And I did post a poll. So quick, there's 6 votes. And 67% are with Hercules.
No. Yeah.
It's not 100. So I mean, that's
no.
Well, it's tough to argue that bear, you know.
Especially when it gets punched into the sky and becomes a constellation.
Then he randomly throws a log into space. Like he's pumped up to throw things into space. It's like
I have a theory on the log.
So awesome.
Yeah, I
yeah,
like theory on the log or something. But yeah.
Well, you know what? That log was pissing me off. So he threw it into space. I'm good with that.
No, space is gonna throw a note back saying, "Stop tossing your shit into space." Thank you.
You know what? Too bad. They
for like the environment, like stop putting your stuff in space.
Yeah, goddamn.
All right. So speaking of space, story.
Segue. Perfect segue. Okay.
Story, Steve. Which movie had the better story?
To me, Barbarians had the better story. Reason
Steve,
being is that Hercules is fine. It is what you expect it to be, which is, you know, we start off with the creation of the universe, and then we have our hero, which is Hercules, and he, you know, he basically has the Jesus, you know, storyline, and he becomes big and strong, and then you know, he does, and then it's just him and the magnificent things he does with a very loose storyline around, you know, King Minos, and he's with science. He's not against, you know, it's not magic anymore.
Sean, stop it. We're not doing skeleton. We're not doing Lost Skeleton. You're already laughing. I knew you were gonna laugh when the first time.
So we did a double bill of this at James' place, and a whole bunch of us were there.
Yeah,
and like Jason has a friend, Jason as well. And when he laughs, rivers of tears pour out. He couldn't stop laughing at both these movies. And like he thought, okay, I'm done with part 1, right? It's like, you know, I'm too tired to watch part 2. But he couldn't stop laughing. And that dude says science like 80 times in that film. It's like, and at one point he says it twice in a sentence. Plants in
the science
or
and
something like
science.
that. Yeah.
It's forever science.
Yeah.
And-
I
and
was
yeah,
watching Bill Nye for a second there. Science.
yeah. And Lost Skeleton of Cadavra, which is a masterpiece. If you guys haven't
Yeah.
seen that movie,
Yeah.
they keep saying science. He goes, I'll do science. It's like,
Yeah. I'm going in the cabin up the hill to do science.
to do science.
I do
All right.
science all
Science.
weekend.
All right. Okay, so yeah, so Hercules. Okay, first of all, if Jim Caviezel was Lou Ferrigno in that movie, that would have turned out a lot different.
It would have been a lot different.
He would have, as soon as that cat of nine tails, he would have grabbed it and yanked the guy
Yeah.
Threw that guy into space, and it would have been the
No,
cat
him
of
and-
nine tails in space.
Pontius Pilate.
I probably would have liked the movie better, but anyhow,
Soundtrack was good though. I've got that CD.
I liked it.
so basically you have that. You have basically sprinkling of the Iliad in there, right? The gods keep interfering and stuff. One of the trials of Hercules gets in there, so it's enjoyable. I wouldn't call it like a great story, but it suits what they're trying to do.
Okay. Yeah.
Barbarians kept surprising me. It kept throwing me off, and it started out when he had them, these guys with helmets torturing the brothers, and then they put the helmet on the brothers and had them fight. I'm like, that's a genius way. He's like, I didn't kill them. They killed each other. I'm like, that's genius. Going into the dragon's stomach, I'm like, who thought of this? This is crazy. Canary dies. I'm like, didn't call that one. There was a lot of stuff where I'm sitting there. I'm like, I didn't call this. I said through the entire movie, I'm like, I didn't call this. The movie kept me guessing. There was some stuff in there, and I'll get to it later that I'm like, hey, did you really need this? But anyhow, I think that the storyline kept me more engaged, where Hercules was just a fun time when I was going along with Lou Ferrigno versus the Barbarians, where I was constantly like, oh, they're going to save her. And she's like, yeah, don't save me. Go get the ruby. And I'm like, I didn't call that. So I got to give it to the movie story that kept me guessing and kept me intrigued.
Right. Barbarians. Okay. Yep. No, that sounds good. Let's go, Sean. What do you think?
Oh my. I had Barbarians on my thing as well.
Yeah.
Look, Hercules is awesome and everything, but I think there's a bit too much fetch questitis in this film compared to Barbarians. Barbarians seems to be a tighter story because there's a lot more. I don't know who wrote the script for this, but there's a lot more emotion and heart tied into everyone's motivations and stuff.
Yep.
And so, and it's funny, like when the one sorceress tortures the princess lady from the caravan, like the mother figure, I was stunned because I was like, I was like, well, what's with this mega drama? Like, what the hell? Right. I thought she's just here to be hot, but I guess she's got this whole story going on here, So, and the whole story with the long lost siblings and everything, really ties everything together. I'll get into character later on, of course,
right.
But Hercules, it's cool, it's awesome. I mean, it's a live action cartoon, and I think they know that making it. There's all this mega plotting even when he's a baby. I love that whole sequence with the guys we'll repay you like this, awesome. That's all cool, but after a while it's sort of like eye glazing. I mean, I'm familiar with the movie now, but if you're to watch it first off, there's a lot of eye glazing, go here, go there, help Circe,
right.
And that's all awesome. But in terms of the better story, I would say Barbarians.
All right, Charlie.
So yeah, mine's gonna be Barbarians for sure. And this was, again, like Jamie was saying, me and him were talking earlier. This kind of ties with these movies. They're neither are perfect, right, but I have to go off which one's a little bit better. And the thing is, I know Barbarians was never made as a serious movie. They literally said this was made as a tax write-off. That's Canon needed a tax write-off. They made Barbarians. If you go in IMDb, the lady that plays that witch wrote a review about the movie herself, just so she could say what she had a blast. But we were literally told that we're just out here till they need to get a tax write-off on this. So no one really gave a shit. They were just having fun. So Hercules was a little different for me because, again, I hadn't watched it since I was 8. So this was very much like watching it for the first time. It's a lot to follow. Like there was times I'm like, wait, who is this? What's going on here? Like I couldn't not pay attention to the movie. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way. Like I didn't lose interest, but like if I just kind of turned around and was doing something and I turned back, I'm like, where did the old sorceress go? Oh, wait, she turned. I'd have to back it up. She's like, oh, she turned young because she drank Hercules's blood. I'm like, okay, all right. And you're right. I get a lot of the Iliad in here. I wish they'd have done more of Hercules's actual trials and stayed closer to that. And I totally forgot that this is seriously a science fiction, Greek tragedy. To me, I just was like, am I reading this wrong? And then it was literally they were just going for this sci-fi feel. And then I was reading up on it and how it was supposed to be like the next Conan. It was supposed to be R-rated, sex, blood, everything. And Lou Ferrigno and his wife were like, no, we're not going to do this if you go that way. So now it's a family friendly adventure. And I think it hurts it, honestly. But story wise, I can follow Barbarians. It's a tighter story. It's a quest. They have one mission. They got to find one or two things on this mission to save Canary. And then when, like you said, when Canary dies, you're thrown for a loop in this movie. Like, wait, now what? And then they get a new queen, and now they still get the showdown. There's still a lot of satisfaction at the end of this movie. Plus, the Barbarian brothers make this one hell of a ride the entire way. So, story is Barbarians for me.
All right. Yeah, story's Barbarians for me also. But I do like let's throw in every possible thing we can think of into Hercules, because it's like,
dude,
it's like, okay, yeah, there's that, and I own so many Hercules movies. My favorite is Hercules in the Haunted World. Reg Park, who is the Schwarzenegger's guy that he looked up to, and he's like, I want to be like Reg Park one day. That movie's a masterpiece by Mario Bava. But anywho, and that one he's got to get the golden apple. It's like, Shazam, you bastards! I know where you got that now. But anyway, and they go. That's exactly what happens in Shazam, the golden apple. But anyway, yeah. So it's like, I do like let's just throw everything. Oh, here's Cersei. Oh, awesome. Okay, good. She's gonna do stuff. And then it's like, then she falls in love with him. It's like, oh, okay. It's like every 5 minutes, some brand new thing happens. So this is weird. It's like, there's no story, but I've never seen a movie that has a more exciting non-story, because you're just like, oh, Cersei's in this? That's cool. And then it's like, oh, she's gone. It's like, oh shit, she's dead. What the shit happened there? Oh, she's gone. Okay. And then it's like, next thing happens. You're like, okay. And then it's like, oh, let's just throw in these mechanical stop motion guys. Okay. That's cool. And then there's 3 of them. I'm like, well, he's fighting all 3 of these. So now you're like, when's the next one coming? Right. And I'd forgotten about that 3rd one. I was like, oh yeah, there's that archer guy.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he's pumped up. Sybil, well, we'll get the characters in a minute. But it's like, yeah, so I don't know, but Barbarians is like a movie. It's like, okay, there's the beginning, you set up all of your characters, then here's your villain. It's like, now I'm gonna go. It's simple, but it makes sense and it's done well. So simple doesn't mean bad. Simple just means simple, but it could still be simple and bad, right? And it could be simple and awesome. And this was simple and awesome. Yeah. I legit like the story in Barbarians, though. Not even as this is a jokey movie. I know it's a jokey movie on purpose, but I'm like, I'm pretty pumped up for what's going on.
The story's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's bad. I think it's legitimately cool. I do really think it's cool. And I'm not the only one. When I was doing this, when I was getting the stream ready, I was looking for just reviews or quotes or something. I found some crazy quotes. This is crazy. You guys are going to be stunned for this. Check this out.
Really?
Wow, that's crazy.
And he dumps on Marvel movies.
I know.
He likes his sword and sorcery better than Marvel, man.
Right. And check this one. And check this one out.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Right.
Maybe.
Pay no attention that the font is the same.
Yeah.
That's just completely coincidental.
And Martin Scorsese's name is misspelled.
That's so weird. I copy and pasted it from the. I got one more.
That's probably the most believable out of all three.
Yep.
Because he's a tall man, so she's not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
God.
good.
Anyway.
I like that, Jay, man. That was good.
My favorite thing is at the Oscars, they had these little things, vignettes of people. What was their first movie that inspired them to get into the business?
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt legitimately talked about War of the Gargantuas, and he said that there's a good Gargantua and there's a bad Gargantua, and he fight. And I thought it was the most awesome thing ever. And I said, I want to get into acting. And I was like, holy shit, this is an Oscar freaking clip, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
No,
man.
and I did War of the Gargantuas on one of my movie days, and I made the Gargantuas as paper guys.
Yeah.
And I had a Gargantua versus battle board game that I always create board games. I couldn't find the Night of the Comet one. I have it somewhere.
That final battle, I forgot how awesome it was. It's like it's
It
never
is
been
awesome.
topped. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like super awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got pacing next. So this is again, I mean, they're both pretty fast paced. I've got one. Story. I was leaning towards Barbarians, anyways. And pacing, I'll just go first. I think Barbarians is a bit better paced for me. Really, it's shorter. I feel like it's shorter and it told the story clearer in a shorter amount of time. And that's really my only. Because I'm not bored during Hercules. That's for damn sure. And that one's like 9 minutes longer or something, or maybe 10 minutes longer.
Barely longer. Yeah.
And that 10 minutes is just the introduction of the universe in the beginning, which it's like, if you crop that, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's literally that simple. It's not even, there's no big, J-Man, like epiphany or some big thing. It's just, it is what it is.
No controversy with this.
No, yeah. It's like, I don't know. I think for me, it's easily Barbarians. So I don't know, Steve, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Hercules.
Yep. That's cool.
It's more so with what Barbarians didn't have than what it did have, because you're right. They're both fast, both around the same time. It was really hard for me to think about this one. What I wish they had done at the beginning of Barbarians is they were talking about how they were beloved in the land and they brought it. I would have liked to have seen that instead of it being told to me.
Right.
Because then when he comes down and he attacks them, it should be shocking. It should be like, who would attack these people? They're just entertainers and they bring joy everywhere. But because it was told to me, it had zero impact. So to me, that needed to be shown, not just told to me. And that should not have been cut for pacing or not considered for pacing purposes.
Right.
Other than that, nitpicky things like, when Richard Lynch is there and he's like, ha ha ha, and he's got the sword and he's like pretending to stab her. He does it like 3 times. And I'm like, okay, you probably could have cut one of these. Come on. I had to get nitpicky like that because there was literally zero for me to deal with pacing.
Yeah.
I was not bored in either film. I had nothing to go off of. So I'm like, okay, so when I think about it, and it's more so, and we don't talk about this a lot, it mainly is because of what Barbarians didn't have in it.
Right.
That I wish they had.
Yeah. I think that's just budgetary reasons, really.
Yeah. It is what it is. At the end of the day, this is the homework thing where, I walk in and I hand you a shredded piece of paper. I'm like, well, the dog ate the homework, and the teacher's like, well, I still got to judge this shredded.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, no. We have to judge what we see.
Yeah.
I 40 minutes in, I hate the Snyder fans where it's like, well, in this and that, and it's like, well, that's not on the screen, is it? So no. I don't, oh, there's going to be another movie where, well, now there isn't another movie where they explain this. So this is now shit. Like,
yeah, I wish I got to explain my mistakes away as much as everyone else does in Hollywood.
yeah, really. Yeah, I'm sure the makers of Barbarians, who, you know, we're learning that, you know, they made it just as a tax write-off. I'm sure the director would have loved to have been given unlimited money to actually do what he wanted. Right. So
been a blockbuster. It would have been next to Conan. Period. It would have been. It would. I mean, given unlimited money,
sure,
been amazing.
Yeah, unlimited. Yeah. All right, Charlie, what do you think's better pay? Oh, so Steve made some good points here. So see that I don't know.
He made good points. I think one of the things I always go with this, especially when I do my research. The whole thing, I agree with you on Lynch going nuts with the sword. I'm like, come on, cut this. Then I have to remember, oh yeah, they usually want like a minimum amount of time for a movie, especially if they pre-sold this thing.
Yep.
That's why a lot of it gets going. But as far as pacing, that beginning of Hercules really kills me because Barbarian starts out with a fight. Like, while I agree with you, I wish we'd have gotten more backstory shown. There's a lot going on when we're being told all this stuff. And I mean, this movie starts from the beginning. And Hercules, I don't have as many watches as, you know, like J-Man or Sean. So I'm also still trying to put this movie together in my head. And I'm sure after 10 viewings, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is perfectly fine. It's paced. But this time I'm like, who is this? What's he going for now? Why did Zeus do this? And they explain it, you know, like 5 minutes later, why Zeus did something.
Yeah.
Like when he knocks him out, you're like, the fuck did Zeus just do? Was that Zeus? I backed it up going, what the hell is going on? I didn't have to do that with Barbarians. It was, let's go. I literally just made that, that look. But that's it. It was just this all of a sudden, like, let's go. We're on a quest. I get fighting. I get them fighting each other. I get a few jokes. There's never a point where I'm like, Jesus, will we please just get on with this story? Hercules wasn't so much of that, but it was also like, I am having so much trouble following the story that I'm going to give pacing to Barbarians because it just boom, 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 boom. Movie ends. I'm happy. That was awesome. Hercules was like, get rid of that beginning or give me something a little bit more spectacular, because that's also the moment where I'm confused as shit going, is this Star Trek? Is this Greek mythology? What the hell is this? And it really wasn't until the bear gets launched into space that I finally like went, all right, I'm in. Okay, let's keep giving this to me. And I know I said this earlier. I think this is the perfect time to do it. So I have a theory about the log.
Yes.
So the log, when he launches it in the space, I immediately went, that looks like the damn thing from Star Trek Part 4 that comes to check on the whales. Yeah. And I swear to God, 10 minutes later, he's in the ocean and there's whale songs. Then he's in the water again and there's more whale songs. I went, that's why they're checking on us. They you know, he sent that thing out there. That's the probe. And it has whale songs on it. And I just could not get that out of my head the entire movie. And it was even worse when I heard whale songs again in the movie. And I was just like, it's canon for me, literally, that the, you know, Star Trek 4 is because of Hercules.
Oh, I'm giving you the Hulk Hogan pose on that. Yeah, that's it. You figured it out, buddy.
I'm on it.
That's it. All right, Sean, are you going to tie this category, or do you have a or do you going to pick Barbarians?
I was back and forth on this, and I heard all you guys. I'm going to go with Barbarians for pacing because they're both well paced. I mean, you know,
yeah, that's the thing.
But I think you could trim a lot out of Hercules. It's like you could trim those like the half of that, like when he launches his chariot into space, and there's like a
oh my god,
half dissolves and stuff like that. You could cut all that. You could cut the baby fighting those snake puppets.
No, I love that.
Oh my god,
you can't cut that. No, all I could picture was the Disney Hercules, where he grabs the demon-looking things and bashes them.
Yeah.
I immediately went, that has to be an homage to Lou Ferrigno's Hercules.
But
Period. I love
squeezes these little squeezy puppets, and then they're like, "That's good enough. Let's put like pizzazz around it and make it that he killed them." Or
Pause
something.
it. They're man hands. If you pause it, they're man hands.
No, those are
grabbing the snakes.
Those are his real. That's the hands he had as a kid. Sean, I'm giving you this.
Don't even think about it, pal. Don't even think about it. Sit down.
I'm not giving you the sit
You
down,
can
buddy.
pick any other scene in this movie.
You cannot cut that scene.
With all the fetch questy stuff, you could cut some stuff out of this. That's the
agree.
thing about this is like pacing is like, what do you really need, right? And
Yeah.
with this movie, there's a lot of like it's constructed out of Frankenstein parts sometimes.
Right.
It's just weird. So I would say Barbarians is the movie that you that has the least fat to cut out of it. So just by that alone, I'd say pacing goes to Barbarians. Look, they're both on like I used to think Hercules was up there in terms of like economic type of like movies like this and 36 Chamber of Shaolin. It's like very tight, tells a lot of story like origin and quest and end of quest in a very like compact amount of time. But I don't know, head to head, I'd say Barbarians edges out Hercules.
There's one thing, like, I know Hercules was a movie. It was always filmed as a movie. But with what you said, there, if you really watch it, it does feel like this could have been made into a television, like a mini series. Like there's points where it could have got to this one great climactic little part of the show. Now next week, see if Hercules can overcome. I think there's even a point where there's a voiceover. Is it when he's in Atlantis and all of a sudden there's a guy talking?
He defeat him. It's like, well, dude, I'm locked into this movie. What are you doing?
So that's another thing. Like I felt like did they plan this to be played on television in like a network miniseries almost? Because that would explain a lot. Like you need 10 more minutes. You need to have points in the story that like you have. Here's an adventure. Here's an adventure. Here's an adventure. Now here's the finale. But I don't think it was ever done that way, though.
I thought 1 and 2 were filmed back to back, no, or at least concurrently.
Hercules?
Yeah, Kenan did this all the time. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if
I
it was
didn't look
supposed to
that
be.
far into it.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Barbarians. All right, so we're gonna do the artistry next. Basically, the rest of these categories are all tied for me. So I don't know. We'll let Steve go first, I guess, on hey, little cozy nostril, how's it going? R rating gets the win.
It's a huge factor for me. Seriously.
Yeah. And we listen.
Look, man, you can't argue with Spielberg.
I just love the picture. The look on his face, like
took me a long time to find these quotes.
He's looking at the quote.
Martin Scorsese, yeah, you're right, Steve.
Like Scorsese.
Steve, okay, that's it. I'm giving Steve this is for Steve.
Every place you go, there's always someone who thinks he's a badass, right?
Steve thought he was all clever for realizing that Martin's name is.
Oh, that's funny.
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
I like her wistful look too.
She's reminiscing about Lou back.
Yeah,
then.
she's like, oh, that movie.
Oh, me and Lou had such great times.
If she's like, I based all my performances off of Lou Ferrigno's Hercules, that would be the greatest.
I'd be down.
I didn't think of that one.
That would have been awesome. Or Sybil Danning or something like that would have been hilarious.
Oh my god.
All
right, so let's take a look at the vote here. How's it go? Oh my god, we have 8 votes. It's 50-50.
Oh shit.
This is like 12 Angry Men. It's like shifting. It started out with everyone saying one thing and then there's slowly changing. Okay, so for me, the rest of these categories, the artistry, the characters, it's all tied up. So what are you laughing at, Sean?
The Brian Hepburn's comment. Like, and it's not a joke. It's probably true, but
no, there's probably some truth to that. That sounds like such a canon thing. Hey, Lou, we got reshoots, and then all of a sudden a sequel comes out that you had no idea.
But there's like new casts and stuff in that, though. So yeah.
Her eyes say it all. They do. Shadow Viper. I
Yeah.
love your avatar.
That's my buddy Benny right there. He's probably one that we watched the Barbarians, as kids when we grew up. So
Okay.
he's
Awesome.
my movie buddy growing up. So
Nice. Well, thanks for popping in, man. We appreciate it. But yeah, no. Well, I mean, the story with the Richard Donner Three Musketeers, where they filmed so much footage that they said, "I will make it 2 films," and everybody sued them. All the actors were like, "You only paid us for 1 movie,"
right.
And then they had to they had to like settle, and then from that point on, in film there was a clause, basically like it's like basically the Donner Musketeers clause, like
Is it?
It's
I'm sorry, not Donner, Lester. What am I saying? Richard Lester.
Lester. That's a hell of a loophole if you think about it. When someone went, man, if we just have them film a bunch of shit, we have it. We paid them to film.
Right.
Let's just put it in another movie. I mean, that's brilliant, unethical as shit, but brilliant business wise. I'm not surprised that they would add that into contracts from now on.
What's the name of the actor?
It was supposed to be one movie.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be one long movie, but they didn't have enough of it done to meet the release date. So they just split it. Say, okay, we'll just say part 1, part 2. So it was the 3 Musketeers and the 4 Musketeers. Yeah, it's Richard Lester. I was thinking, I'm always thinking like he directed 2 and 3 Superman, and then then there's the Donner cut.
But it was really the Salkinds
who did it. Yeah.
And then they went on to do Superman the same way.
Right.
So yeah.
So anyway,
I could see Cannon trying to do that. For sure. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually did happen and no one really realized it or some shit. Let's hire one actor and then all the other shit is just extras from other movies that we just splice in. So we don't have to pay anybody doing that. They showed up for free.
Is it Richard Harrison? Is that the guy who did?
Is that the guy they shot like a couple days work where he's in different costumes and stuff? He's like, I don't know, I'm getting paid. And then he used it for like 8 movies,
No, Sean. It's like 50. Harrison is in 50. He's like in 50 ninja movies, and he thought he was making a couple.
See, that's where I could see it. It's the Power Rangers syndrome. Let's take this parts of this and make a whole new show about it and just keep redoing it.
Yeah.
Roger Corman used James Cameron's designs from Battle Beyond the Stars across how many movies?
Yeah, I know. They're all. It's like
we just went over all that. How many Battle Beyond the Stars scenes are in almost every movie we covered last year?
Yeah,
like it's like, that I remember where that scene's from. But that's also Corman going, I'm going to make money on a movie that I didn't have to do anything with.
Yeah,
here go. That I understand more than just like telling someone we're going to make one movie and then all of a sudden you're in the sequel and you had no idea. To me, that just is fascinating and hilarious all at once.
You gotta pay them, yeah. Well, nowadays people are more careful about that, and this is the Wild West days of acting,
right?
And filmmaking, definitely. Right? So yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, artistry. All right, so this is. I mean, we're gonna use the dog ate my homework, Steve example of
what's on.
Listen, there's budget, and then there's like when I review these films, I always rank them against themselves. So that's always fair. Like I'm like, okay, this movie is an independent film. So how am I like? I'm not gonna rank Infinity Pool versus Scream 6, right?
Yeah,
different budget.
It's like, I mean, this is like not even the same thing. They're both horror movies, right? But like they don't. So that's why when I review my movies, I talk about just the movie itself and say like, okay, if you're watching Infinity Pool, how well did the budget go to make this movie as best as they could possibly make it with what they had? Like I would say, Evil Dead 1 is like a masterpiece, low budget filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like if they gave you the same amount of money in 1980, whatever, what would you have produced? Right.
Right.
Like if they gave me one more second, if they gave me like $300 million and then I produced, whatever movie, I can't think of like what, one of these awful shitbag like Black Panther 2 or Eternals, $200 million. It's like, and we got Eternals. It's like, this movie's boring. It's piss. Nothing looks good. It's dark half the time. So anyways, yeah, go ahead, Steve. And you could tell me which one you think's better. Why?
Well, I'll just say this about low budget filmmaking. I think the secret for low budget filmmaking is know what you can show and what you can't show,
Right.
and not writing your story that I'm sitting there saying, show me something you can't.
Right.
I think that's the secret. And I think, like, if I think of a movie that did it perfectly, it was Saw.
Yeah, Saw.
2 guys in a frigging room. What
Yeah.
can you do with them with, $1 million budget?
Yep.
Yep.
Terrifier 2 cost $250,000.
Yeah.
That looked great. We watched that on at Steve's on 4K, and it's like, there you go. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Basket Case is one of my favorite movies.
I love Basket Case. That's another one me and Ben watched all the time. I remember the first time we watched that.
Yeah, Basket Case is way better than Eternals. And that's not a joke.
No.
Yeah, like, obviously, Basket Case is better. All right, so Steve, artistry. Which movie do you think has the better artistry, and why?
This was tough, but I'm going to go with Barbarians. Reason why is I think they showed a bit more. The cinematography is a little bit better, especially at the beginning. You get the range of the mountains and that. It's very impressive. The background's more impressive. The soundtrack, it stays with you more, I found, with Barbarian. Both movies have really good scenes, but I found Barbarians had very good music throughout versus Hercules that, to me, it had a great central theme, and then I didn't think of the music again, to be honest with you. Costume-wise, I think Barbarians suited the story more. I know, they went with the silver getup for the gods, which I think a lot of people did. It's either white or silver. But again, I think it just went with like, hey, what's everyone else doing? I think Barbarians tried to be a little bit more creative with what they had. So for instance, going into the dragon's stomach, you'd think I never got over that. But it was really like you got in and you could see the bone structure of the dragon inside. Like Hercules didn't go that far. It didn't do that. I'm not saying they couldn't have done that. They did a great scene with cleaning out the stables and all that, and they did what they could. But I found that Barbarians gave you a little bit more bang for your buck. Even little things like the sorcerer's eyes glowing, and then they were smart to just show, it's smoking in her hands when she was holding that thing. She was burning, like the fingers. It was just smoking, and her eyes were going. You didn't need to show a flame. Right. They didn't have the money. Like, it wouldn't have looked effective. It was just what they could do that made it look good. So to me, it was better use of what they had. Hercules tried to do a little bit more, but I found that they didn't have the budget to do a little bit more. And you're sitting there saying they didn't have the budget really to do this.
All right.
There's a good chunk of the budget right there. Good chunk of the budget.
Brought to you by Johnson & Johnson.
Yes, they should have been a sponsor on the movie.
Oh man!
All right.
I love it.
Okay, so Steve, we've got Barbarians. Let's go, Charlie. What do you think?
This one I was struggling with because Hercules like swings for the fences really hard, and to the fact that even the director is on record saying, I thought it was going to turn out so much better when it comes to the special effects. Like, I'm pretty sure Hercules is the inventor of shaky cam at some point in this movie. Like, I'm watching it going, why is the camera shaking? Or why is there this weird effect for no reason whatsoever? Yeah. I'm like, someone just please stop. Just give me normal color for a little bit. Now, there's awesome stuff. I love it when Hercules grows. I was like, this is it actually had me going like, how would I pull that off if I was on there? Like, there's a couple of different ways to do it, but I was just like really like getting into it. And I love the mechanical monsters because I love them for that. There was a little toy line. I can't remember what they were called, but they were
Zoids.
Small. Zoids. That's Zoids, it.
Yeah.
They reminded me of Zoids so much. And I was like, I was enjoying that, but then it would do like just this weird shit, like the Star Trek sound effects or light just disappearing from a dead body. I think it's when Circe dies and she just two balls literally makes that sound effect. Barbarians was cohesive. Like it never like felt like anything changed in that movie. I was in that space, that universe, and it worked. Not to mention they literally dress them up like He-Man characters. Like they have, the armor on, they have the shoulder, arm guard. when they cut into the dragon, it's the slime pit, man. It's
Yep.
really like to me, that was even closer than what Dolph gave me for He-Man. Just take those two movies and do it. But I love the gore, and I think that was a big thing was missing in Hercules. Was I would have loved to see him like rip that bear apart and then wear the bear fur like throughout the movie. You know, it's funny he throws him out in space. It's what it's known for. But I really want it like the Barbarians cut a dude's head off, a feral werewolf looking dude, and then play with the head. I love it. I was there for it. I love the costumes. You know, we can't even go like, well, Hercules had hot chicks in it, which they did.
Oh yeah.
It's very like this is on the edge of family friendly, honestly. Yeah. But Barbarians had hot chicks too, and the hot chicks that were actually naked. You know, so it's like there's that R-rated thing that this kind of elevates it a little bit more. You know, and I just love the look of Barbarians so much more. It felt cohesive. It was a Barbarian movie. So I'm going with Barbarians for artistry.
So Charlie just said he felt elevated while watching the nude parts of Barbarians.
He didn't say what part was elevated.
You're right. A lot of baby oil involved, but that's now look, I'm not saying, I mean, I was watching Hercules going, damn, they'd like, yeah, that was Hercules right there. There's so much cleavage. Like Sybil Danning is actually mad she didn't get to be nude in this movie, you know. But I mean, all of the girls, you're just like, these are like models.
Yeah, I know all of them. Yeah,
all of them. You're just like, holy shit! Like there's like pasties and thongs and everything. I'm like, this is kid friendly. This is what Lou Ferrigno's told everyone. I want a kid friendly movie, and that's what we got. But like I said, as far as cohesiveness and a point of Hercules tried, and by God, they swung for the fences. It just didn't work. And we're talking a 5-year difference here. We're not talking 1975, you know, or whatever Clash of the Titans came out.
81.
Hercules still was it 81?
It's 81.
Yeah, that's the last Harryhausen.
What about like Jason and the Argonauts? That's an older one, right?
Like, yeah, that's older.
So
60s, yeah.
Hercules still feels like a movie that was not made in the 80s, other than maybe the mechanical idea. It felt like an earlier movie, like Harryhausen almost. We're talking 5 years difference. We got Barbarians, which was just bloody, gory. It was believable. The dragon didn't, you know, the demon dragon didn't look fake. It was fake, but it didn't look fake. You know, it wasn't like on string marionettes or anything. It looked cool as shit. You know, and like you said, when they cut into it and go inside of it, you're just like, that was a set dresser's dream right there. Like, no, we're going to go inside the dragon too. Oh, really? Cool. Ribs, blood, guts, organs, everything, dead body. Hercules would have, not just Lou Ferrigno in that. And I guess I'll save it for characters on that.
Yeah, save it for
yeah. So Barbarians.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right about that. But yeah, they did get, like, I mean, if they have Lou Ferrigno and he's going to be muscly up and you could see everything, that they're going to have the women too. Yeah. They were equal. That was equal. Everyone looks good.
Yeah,
100%. No,
I was going to say, like, we don't notice this, but like we do forget like how fetishistic this stuff is for people who are attracted to men as well. I mean, like, because none of these guys wear shirts in the entire movie.
No.
Right. So yeah.
So based on that, Sean, you're saying Barbarians because there's two men in that one and one in the...
I go now or
yeah, sure, go for it.
This was hard for me, but then it got easier the more I thought about it. Look, I love Hercules. We all love Hercules. But the thing is that every time I see it, even as a kid, I noticed that all it's trying to do is ape everything that was popular at the time. That's where all this stupid crap is coming from. It's like it's Superman, it's Star Trek, it's Star Wars, so they show space a lot, they show laser bullshit a lot. There's a Supermanish soundtrack. Like, the soundtrack is awesome, but it's got the same motifs as Superman and all that stuff in Star Wars. I know, like the love theme, the Trek theme, and the main theme, and all that stuff, right? And because of that, it's just borrowing too much and doesn't become a cohesive whole. It's like, is this a fantasy thing or is it science fiction? Like, why are these things? The robots are cool, but why are they robots? Like, you know, and
science.
Yeah, well,
He-Man. That's what He-Man is, though. He-Man is like that. He-Man's like that.
Yeah. He-Man is, but you know,
but
I
you know
guess
what
that was on
is.
other planets
it's
too.
post-apocalyptic. It's like, you know, like that's what it is. Is like they're using the technology from before the Great War and all that
Right.
stuff. Right.
Yeah.
This is ancient Greece. It's like we know what it's supposed to be, right? Barbarians. The thing about it is, like, I don't care about the budget for either movie. Barbarians looks like a barbarian movie, and like especially like about an hour in, they go into that swamp area and that temple and everything. Like the temple is impressive.
Awesome.
I don't know if it's another set or something, but it's like someone put work into that with the snaky designs on the wall and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Swamp area, like I love the way everything's lit. It looks like a paperback cover, like almost everything there. And I love the way the barbarians look, like when they're, especially when they have their weapons. I was telling J-Man yesterday, they look like 1980s Playmates figures, like splayed legs and like ready for action kind of thing. They look wicked, you know, and especially when they have the new armor and stuff, it's awesome, man. It's like everything looks like Golden Axe or something, right? I mean, it just
got the Golden Axe marquee right there.
Yeah, it looks like it's supposed. It looks like you rent something like this and you get what you wanted, right? You know, it's and I love the way everything's lit. I love color gels. Not like people don't use this anymore, man. But like
they don't.
It's like even when they go into the belly of that dragon thing, and it's like this red behind them. It's eerie. You know, it's so cool. And there's a blue tint to that swamp area and everything. I love all of that. It just looks incredible, and especially like the caravan looks great. You know, they're on some park somewhere, but it works. You know, and just the imagination of everything. Like someone thought, like this guy breathes fire and he breathes rain into this guy's face and all that stuff. And
love that.
The stunt work is amazing. That one guy that jumps on the other guy and pulls him off the horse is a real thing, and they show the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of effort put into it and heart, and it's all totally what it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna give the edge to Barbarian. You know, Hercules is awesome. Come on, but like it's a live action cartoon. But I don't know. I think Barbarians sets out to do what it does, and it excels at that. So
right,
yeah. You guys have all said it. It's Barbarians. When something is tied, and I have to think like, see, Hercules as a weird He-Man hybrid, Star Wars hybrid Hercules movie is awesome. There's all these cool creatures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then Barbarians, at no point in like you guys have already said this. It's like everything matches with itself.
Yeah,
like Hercules looks cool. You're like, oh, that looks pretty good. And then it's like, oh, there's that creature. Oh, he doesn't look that good. Oh, that looks cool. Ooh, that didn't work. Right. Versus where it's like everything looked the same in Barbarians. So once you're used to the first couple of effects that you see, you're good for the rest of the movie because they all look as good or as bad as that. Right. Like if you think, oh, that, you know, that's a bit cheesy. Yeah, but it all looks the same. It's 108. It's the Star Wars special editions. You inserted CGI next to puppets. Now it just all looks weird.
Yeah.
When it was all puppets, then I'm like, it's fine because it's you know, it's like let's say we watch Dark Crystal and there's CGI people. You'd be like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Think about Fire and Ice, Rotoscope, and then all of a sudden. You know, like a Toy Story character comes in.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're like, what is happening?
Like,
that was the feeling that I got from Hercules. And I've seen Hercules 4,000 times.
Yeah.
I've seen Barbarians twice.
Yeah.
Once as a little kid, and well, now I've seen it 3 times because I watched it again.
Yeah.
So I watched it twice. I almost watched it twice in one day. I watched it. I was like, oh my God. I need to rewatch this.
That's why I watched it twice this week. I was like, I just can't not watch this. I love the flip. I've seen Barbarians so many times, but I've seen Hercules twice.
Yeah.
If somebody, I don't even remember the first time, so
yeah. Oh, okay. And see, dude, do we know each other? Because like I've gotten every Boris calendar since 1996. No, 1995. Every Boris calendar, I've got it up there. I always forget to turn the page because I always like to look at it. So my wife changed it on the first. She's the only person. I've changed it a couple of times. She claims I've never changed it, but I claim that I have changed it a few times. There was one year where I bought Frazetta and Boris because I didn't even know Frazetta had a calendar. I figured, he's passed away, so why is his calendar still coming out? But it was just old.
Oh,
They would take
that
old.
his daughters have carried on.
His daughters have carried on, and I have everything right here. I have all the Frazetta's daughter comics right here. Death Dealer number 10 just came out this week. That's a great series. Okay,
I got a buddy of mine that got a personal invitation down to the museum.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Wow.
Derek. I was jealous of Derek that day. Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with Ben on that one because I watched this they're both on Prime, so I was like, oh, that's probably the better version to watch it. But Hercules definitely should have been like a VHS rewatch. Like then I could have been like, okay, this is kind of what they intended it to look like. It's not polished on Prime, but it is widescreen. It is updated, and I think that definitely hurt it. But again, it didn't hurt Barbarians, and we're talking 5-year difference.
Right. And I own both on Blu-ray, both blah, blah, blah editions, whatever it is. I was just to stay on artistry for just a second. I was absolutely blown away with the visuals of Barbarians. Right in the beginning, Sean and I talked very briefly before seeing Shazam last night about this, but like the beginning, I was like, this is like, obviously it's not better than Road Warrior, but I'm like sitting there thinking, this is like pretty damn good. Like, I don't think I could have made this action, this caravan attack or whatever. Like, you're looking at, well, what was the budget on this? Like, I don't know. Like, this is pretty good, right? So like, yeah, I like the music for both. And actually, funny enough, I was listening to the commentary of Barbarians before we started, and the guys, and they mentioned literally the commentators are like, what was the other ones? Damn it, Hercules, right? And they even said they're like, oh, Hercules has a great soundtrack with the big theme and all that. It's so, and then like this theme's a bit different. There's some more synth in it and everything. And they're talking about the two soundtracks and how they're both great and everything. And it's like, yeah, like it's tough because when it's both tied, I'm just going by. I was never taken out of Barbarians. It's like I saw it, like whatever the first shot was, the last shot, it remained consistent. Hercules went up and down, where it like that looks really cool, and it's like, ooh, this didn't hold up very well. That's the problem, and that's the only problem. Yeah. I like shooting for the. I like this. Listen, we're putting monsters in. Yeah. We're putting mechanical guys in. Whatever. It's like every girl's like in a skimpy outfit. It's like, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. But unfortunately, it didn't. Barbarians beat it. So characters, oh god, Barbarians has a bit of an edge because there is two of them. It's like in Double Impact. There's two of them. Steve, let's go to Steve first on this one because I didn't go to Steve first on the one category, and it was like a bit of a fail because like we're like, oh, I don't know. So let's go, Steve. What characters did you like better?
Barbarians, and here's why. First of all, the two leads are wash. Ferrigno's awesome as Hercules. The Barbarian brothers are awesome as Barbarians. When I was watching it, I was sort of thrown off by their constant, like yelling and all that. And then after a while, it clicked. I'm like, they're Barbarians. Well, of course they're doing this. Like that. This is what they do. Yes. They act goofy and silly and blah 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 and oafish, right? Like when they're there and they're in. They're in the harem, and it's like they end up in bed with all the women. And I love that when they come out and they're like, "Where the hell were you?" She's like, "I was here all night. Where the hell were you?" They're like, like that sort of thing. It's ridiculous, but it works, and it works because my dad always told me the way that comedy works is you have two people, one or two characters who are ridiculous, and everyone else is sane. Because you need that mirror reflection to say, this is insane. And this is where the comedy's coming from. That's why Abbott and Costello, my favorite.
I was going to say, that sounds like the Abbott Costello kind of theory.
And the comic man. And that's why it's funny, right? Because the
The
straight
Jerry
man's,
Lewis and Dean Martin type
yeah,
things.
because exactly Lewis and Martin, like you need that straight guy to be like, you're insane, you're ridiculous. What are you talking about? Why is like it makes it funnier?
Yeah.
But the main thing is that with Barbarians is all the supporting characters stand out a lot more than Hercules. When they kept going back to the main villain, I was sitting there for literally like a minute, or not a minute, but a few seconds. I'm like, who's this guy? Who's it? What's it? Oh, it's the king guy. Yeah. He's like, this is where the story sort of bleeds into the characters, where unless you're Sybil Danning wearing a very low cut top, you're man with beard number 38 in Hercules. I'm sorry, that's how it is. Like it's the hot women, it's Lou Ferrigno and a bunch of dudes with beards. That's the cast. That is the characters. The Barbarians, everyone is distinctively different. You got, the thief character who's really Kara, all that stuff. You have the caravan people who are caravan people. The villain, Richard Lynch, is in there a lot. He's distinctive. The sorceress looks like a sorceress. And again, I forgot to mention this. It's awesome. She just goes off on her own. You got Michael Berryman as the Dirt Master. He's very distinctive. Yeah, you need Michael. If this sort of movie doesn't have a Michael Berryman, that's a fail. But everyone's distinctive. I knew who everyone was visually, and when the characters were. Where I got lost in Hercules, unless you were Lou Ferrigno or a hot woman, I was like, "Who is this? Why are they talking?" I knew it was Zeus because he was flanked by two hot women and wearing silver. Otherwise, I'm like, So I got to give it to Barbarians easily.
All right, I'm gonna say Barbarians because there's two of them, and that does make it. Lou Ferrigno is like the best and like one of my heroes. I love Lou Ferrigno. I love Incredible Hulk, the TV show.
Yeah.
I think he's awesome, and he's a great Hercules. Like he's the real Hercules. Like I think, well, actually, Reg Park's my favorite Hercules. I actually, on a serious note, Hercules in the Haunted World. If you have not seen that, you can let me know, and I will let you borrow it. I have multiple. I bought that movie twice on DVD, like just having a second copy. Like I love it. It's probably my favorite. I would pause it and like try to draw the. It's basically all of the coolness of Barbarians, but with Hercules.
Yeah.
So it's in Hercules' world, and he goes in the underworld and he gets the apple from the tree of life and all that same stuff. He fights creatures, but it looks like Barbarians. It's an older movie, Mario Bava. But it is a bloody masterpiece. Reg Park did two Hercules movies. The second one, Hercules and the Captive Women, is okay too. But Haunted World is amazing. Anyways, you for sure 100%. It's like so good. Yeah. But Barbarians, man, like, yeah, all the characters were great. The thing is like, yeah, both movies had equal number of attractive women. So you right, Sybil Danning does kind of take the prize, but the other ones are pretty. But they had more personality in Barbarians. That's really the thing. And the two brothers are like the second they appeared with the helmets on, I was like, okay, we need action figures of both these guys. We need action figure. And I spent about 45 minutes today, like writing out which brother is which character and what distinguishing characteristics they have. In case if I do a lot of those little paper craft characters. Sean and Steve know I make those. Oh, I showed you a few. Yeah, I gave. Yeah, I actually did King Minos from Hercules.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I randomly, I was like, I think I did that, and I did. I did King Minos with the O, like he had that O on him or whatever. So I did him, but I might do the Barbarian brothers. So I was trying to see their armor and get good shots and figure out who's who and everything. So I can actually tell in the movie who's who, like which brother's which character. Anyways, I just think they're awesome. They're just the two of them are the damn best. I like Eva LaRue, who's Kara. She's really Kara. She has she's the fake name or whatever. She's great. And she's gone on to actually have a pretty good name for herself.
She's huge in soap operas.
She's in soap operas and CSI. Yeah. She's in one of the CSI shows. So it's like that's cool. And yeah, just all the characters. Like Richard Lynch, we know anyways. We just know him from action movies and stuff. So whatever.
Exactly. Invasion USA, man.
Invasion
He got
USA,
rocket
which he literally did, I think, like a year before this movie or something,
it's
or
something
whatever.
like that. Yeah, he's canon
So,
royalty.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. And like, there's that Emu Phillips guy who's like,
Yeah, man. Who is that guy?
I don't know, but I was like, call me Mr. Butterfinger.
Yeah. Boy,
Would
is
you
my
look
face
at
red.
that?
Yeah.
Boy, is always my face red.
Yeah.
Just call me Mr. Butterfinger. Weird Al's like, I effing love UHF. We're gonna Sean. We're gonna
do a stream, man. Oh
we're
my
doing
God.
a stream on that one. I don't care. It's a
That'd be
it's a
fun.
masterpiece. It's a 10 out of
It
10
is.
masterpiece. And Fran Drescher is the best character. Anyways, all right. No, but like the like okay. I'm gonna let Sean tell the rope thing because that's his favorite part. But honestly, the way the way they escape being hung, and then you can just tell the rest of it is just like it. Like, I'm serious. It's literally one of the best things that's ever happened in a movie. No, it's literally one of the
It's
because
gold.
you're like,
you're right.
because you start thinking like, oh shit, how are they gonna get out of this? It's like, oh, here's how they're gonna get out of it. I'll let Sean tell you how. If you haven't seen it. Yeah, I love all the characters in this. They're all good. I liked Canary, man. I was like, shit, Canary's dead. This sucks. Emu Phillips had that attractive wife who was just, I do love how no one else ages at all, and they're wearing the same exact clothes, but the two barbarians and Kara are like way older. It's like, you guys look exactly the same.
Identical. Like you filmed the next day. That
Yeah,
you're supposed to be
you
like 15 years older at least.
Yeah. So, anyways, but whatever. Yeah, there's two barbarians. There's only one, and one Lou Ferrigno, who is pretty good, but two barbarians who are really good. Plus all the supporting characters, as you guys mentioned, or Steve mentioned. Yeah, it has to go to barbarians, man. They're just too good. All right, Sean, you can go next.
All right. Well, I mean, it's barbarians for me. Look, once again, Hercules is awesome.
It is awesome.
But the thing is, I think a lot of the characters are more just like cartoon cutouts rather than resonant. I mean, I feel like the characters in Barbarians are like the thing about Barbarians is that in the opening intro, this voiceover man tells you everything. And basically gives away that like Kara is the sister of the two barbarians. And for the whole movie, you seem to know that, but the characters in the movie don't seem to know this, right? But what I like about all that, what I find interesting is that the barbarians, I love how their sibling rivalry is depicted. They're like they're rough and tumble brothers, right? And they tease each other and they bust each other's balls, but they support each other and all that. And it's the same thing with Kara. And like right from the get-go, there's no real sexuality going on between any of them. It's she's the sister, and they help her out and stuff. And I love when I think you mentioned this before, where one's like, where the hell were you? And it's like, where the hell were you? And it's like it's totally like brother sister bullshit.
I don't like the axe. It's like, oh, I want the axe. It's like, no, I want the sword.
I love that.
It's like,
oh my god!
It's like for no reason, and it's like, where did that come from? Was that on set, or is that like this is a very masterful script? To be honest, I mean, if it's like a tax write-off, like this is pretty good,
Yeah.
But yeah, like those characters are all very interesting and memorable, and even the caravan people, like that Emo Phillips guy, is they call him Moosehead at one point. That's why I know him.
Yes, yeah, Moosehead.
Moosehead.
And that's another thing too. Is like, I guess one would be put off by the fact that the Barbarian brothers, are basically New Yorkers in this world, right? And they never explain that. But like they have this like this accent, and I know that like it must be accidental. They didn't direct them to be like just be up this time or something like that. They just did, but it's so charming. Like it's just it works, and the woman who plays Kara follows their lead because she's very modern too, right?
Right.
And in a way, you could say, well, if they're all related, then they're special somehow. That's how they are.
Yeah.
I feel all that works, and it adds to the fun of everything. It's not so serious,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of like drama going on in this thing. The villains are great in Barbarians as well, and I love the sorceress is always like sort of you feel that she's not really with this guy, and then of course she betrays him.
It's like He-Man. It's like Skeletor and Evil Lyn. Like she's kind of
Yeah.
reluctantly,
Very much so.
right?
Yeah, and all so I don't know. I'm gonna give it to Barbarians. Like Hercules is cool, but like, I couldn't tell you a lot about Cassiopeia or freaking Circe and all that stuff. I just they're there just to be like the woman you save, the woman you help, the guy you fight, the other woman you fight. And that's cool. That's awesome. But if going head to head against Barbarians, I'm gonna give it to Barbarians for character.
There you go.
All right, Charlie.
Oh, I didn't talk about the freaking.
Oh, you didn't talk about the damn rope thing, Sean.
Do the
Jesus.
rope,
I,
do the
I
rope
love,
thing.
I love that. Listen, like we all love this, right? It's like you've never seen you've never seen like a dude like flex his neck muscles out of a noose. It's like, that's awesome. And then he does like woo thing for no reason, and then the other dude's like, I'm gonna top that, and he breaks the tree branch with his neck muscle. It's like, oh, like that. He brings it all down. I'm like, this is awesome. And it's like, of course, that's how they get out of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Barbarian Brothers, man.
It's awesome.
God
That's
damn.
You
exactly
just
it.
power through.
It's exactly how a cartoon would get out of a serious situation, and that's
Yeah.
what they
Yeah.
did. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie.
So yeah, we've pretty much said it all right here. So my answer is Barbarians, but I loved Lou Ferrigno, but because I don't have a huge history with this movie, I'm watching this one going, I fucking hate that he's dubbed. Like I think I would have preferred Lou Ferrigno talking. He's talking in this movie. He is saying those lines.
Yeah.
It's never a point where it's like, okay, the voiceover guy said something Lou didn't. Like I'm watching it really close, and it's just making me mad that it's not Lou Ferrigno's own voice. And I get it. I know we all know he's deaf. He has the speech impediment, but because I've seen him in other things since, I'm like, I would have rather just had Lou Ferrigno doing that. And really he could have been so much more of a character over another movie. But Barbarians, you guys have nailed it. I can follow every single character. My one thing, and I was tempted to put it in artistry, but I'm going to put it in characters, is all the no-name henchmen just looked so badass that they didn't need names. Like the one dude looks like skin growing over the but it's in like strings, and then another guy has it over his mouth, and it's like I can now recognize that character every time he shows up on the screen. Hercules, it's literally throwing characters at us. Here's this person. Here's this person. Here's this person. Why do I care about that person? I don't know. And I like Sybil Danning in this, but I am totally way more into Kara in Barbarians than any of the other women. And Kara doesn't get naked. She's scantily clad, but more like Tila, in He-Man.
Right.
But I am way more invested in her and watching her on screen than I was Sybil Danning or any of the other characters in Hercules, because I didn't care about them. Like, I don't give a shit. The only real correlation of these two movies is the bad guys all get stabbed with swords thrown at them. I was watching that today going, oh, wow, we picked two movies that, Sybil Danning, they throw a sword at her, and then the Lynch gets two swords thrown through him. I'm like, that's kind of cool. That wasn't planned. But I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit about King Minos. The one Daenerys, whatever her name was. She was useless. I couldn't tell the difference between the two girls on either side of Zeus. One had like peacock fan behind her. The other one, I was like, I don't know who any of you people are unless you tell me right now. But yeah, Barbarian, man, I knew who every character was. I liked all the characters. I liked the caravan people. They were colorful. They were purposely made, to be this people that stand out against everything else going on in the world. They bring brightness. Like I think they even make a mention of where are the colors, where, you know, we're missing all of the colors that we grew up with.
Mention that.
And as far as the Barbarian brothers, man, they're gold in this. And in my head canon, that's where New Yorkers got their accent. Was the Barbarian brothers. That's where that just slowly worked its way to New York. So that they began it all. And I would hated for them to try and be of a period. I don't think it would have worked as good. They couldn't have been as silly. I'm really hoping a lot of that was even improv. You know, it's like, you know, I want the axe. Now I want the sword. I want the reins. And, you know, the brother doing exactly what a brother would do. Well, I'm going to have fun with the whip thing. He's like, I don't want the reins now. Give me that back. You know, I love all of that, man. And the movie would be empty without a lot of that. They're literally the heart. They're the heart, and Kara is the glue that kind of just keeps everything else going. I love Barbarians, man. So characters, period. Barbarians wins.
All right. Well, then we got enjoyment. I mean, Barbarians has already won pretty much just based on
swept it. It's swept it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've
so
voted for Barbarians on everything. Yeah.
Yeah. My like when I was looking at this when we started, I thought, wow, because like Hercules is a movie I've loved, like, you know, my whole life. I have all the posters. It's not easy to find these things. A lot of eBay searching, and Movie Poster Warehouse helped out on a couple of pieces. And it's like it was a lot of work to get, especially part 2. Like, and VHS was very hard to get these movies to have these, and I love them. Barbarians I saw as a little kid. Me and my buddy Vic, we loved it. We're like, this is so great, but it was hard to find to watch it. I couldn't really get my hands on it. So I didn't see it for so long. I thought, and I was excited to do this stream because it's like, oh, I get to rewatch Barbarians, and I've got the Blu-ray. And then I was like blown away. I was like, wow. So this is the Space Hunter story that Charlie had on the last verses, where that was my movie the whole time. And you got introduced to it, and you're like, wow, this is now one of my favorites.
It's still one of my favorites. I've watched it probably 3 or 4 times since the tournament. I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. And then now and for you, Barbarians was, you know, so now I'm getting that. And I was like, wow, it's like, and it's like, and the thing is, I remembered, Sweep the Leg. That's funny.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just blown away. If someone said to me that Barbarians was their favorite movie of all time, I would not. I would be like, oh, of course, sure, okay. Like, you know, if someone says Eternals is their favorite movie or even good, I'd be like, huh?
You need medical help.
But like to me, it's not like, I mean, to me, this is like Army of Darkness territory. I mean, obviously, I like Army of Darkness more.
Mm-hmm.
But it is.
Same.
I see it in that same genre of like, wow, this is like so cool. Everything they've done, they've really tried hard on this. They wanted to make a fun movie, and they succeeded. They didn't care. They're like, look, it's the they're credited as the Barbarian brothers in the Barbarians. It's like, how many times can you say Barbarian in one sentence? It's like, they're like, well, they're the Barbarian brothers, of course. Like, oh, what's the movie called? The Barbarians. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then but even before I'd watched that movie, like just recently, because I'd seen it as a kid, anytime the word Barbarians appeared in any other film, I automatically pictured the two brothers. Even that there's that Barbarian movie with whatever, I was like, nope, if this is not Barbarians,
they're
like,
synonymous. That's perfect marketing. Like they are barbarians.
Yes.
And like you guys were talking about, I forget who said it. They act like barbarians, very oafish. You know, they're not Conan barbarians. Conan is a Sumerian. Conan is a warrior. These guys even fight like barbarians. It's give me the heaviest or bluntest or sharpest thing to swing around. That final battle isn't a battle. That's just them posing, and the crossbow quits working. And then they throw the sharp thing at them. You know?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if his fingers, because he had no fingers there and he couldn't shoot it properly. Like,
that's what so weird. I was so I'll say this before we get too going. There was a moment watching this movie, and I've always wondered why they didn't do it, because that sorceress has ulterior motives.
Right.
She makes a thing where she takes the fingers and she goes, these can destroy you, so we must burn them. So I was like, okay, a ceremony. When she holds them in her hands and the smoke flares out in front of the boys, for a long time, I thought that should have been like a smoke show, like to make him think she destroyed his fingers, and they would come back to play later on in the movie that they were the reason they fall. But in all reality, those fingers were the reason he fails. He can't pull the bolt.
Yeah.
On the crossbow.
Yeah.
So the prophecy is true, basically.
It is. Yeah, right. I think they were going for that, like what you just said, but like it was his downfall. It was this foreshadowing of his downfall.
I would have rather seen like the sorceress try to do that. She kind of has a BS kind of death. She dies in the belly of a dragon.
Yeah, that sucks. She was awesome.
Yeah, she was a cool character, and not to mention she took Michael Berryman with her. I'm like, come on, man, leave the Dirt Master alone. Hornhead running around.
But that in and of itself, of the fingers being his downfall, is a lot smarter than this movie has to be. I mean,
right.
You're right.
Yeah, it ties it all up. It's like another thing about that final fight that I really enjoy is that Richard Lynch, of course, is no match for the Barbarian brothers, but they do it convincingly. Like he's on a horse.
Yeah,
he's intimidating.
When he drops back and has the double daggers and hurts him. You're not expecting that the first time you watch this movie. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like he's skilled. He knows that they're probably slower.
But they do a good job of like, it's like, how do we have Richard Lynch fight the Barbarian brothers?
Yeah.
And it's convincing. It's like you're with it the whole time. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm saying Barbarians, which is crazy because I definitely started out thinking, oh yeah, Lou Ferrigno Hercules has got this one, for sure. And then I was just blown away about how great it was. And it's become one, and it's like literally now one of my favorites in my collection. And I don't know, because now I'm starting to look, and Sean and I talked about this last night, start look at the rest of these movies. We're like, did we just do the finals on the first stream, Kieran? Because I haven't seen Ator in a while, but I remember thinking it wasn't all the best. And I remember thinking Deathstalker was awesome. And I remember thinking I was the only person on planet Earth that liked Deathstalker.
I love Deathstalker. So, I mean, I think there's enough competition.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's some like movies that probably have a lot more to them than we remember.
Yeah.
Right.
Some of these I haven't.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's kind of like our wild cards between that and Sword and the Sorcerer
is good.
Well, that's awesome too. I have my faults with it, but yeah.
I think I'm glad those two are pitted against each other, because I think those two would have kind of dominated as it went from memory of these movies. Yeah.
Well, plus I have Sword and the Sorcerer on 4K. So
that just came out too.
I do too, and I just saw it a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty awesome.
So I don't have any good stories about these movies, but Sword and the Sorcerer, Sean, I might let Sean say it, but like there's one hilarious.
Yeah, there's a weird line in the beginning.
You guys are so goofy, Charlie. When this will come up on that stream. Charlie, you can take note of this. This is what happens when J-Man is not around and these two boneheads watch a movie on their own. I get these. What was going on? I'm like, that's not what happened. And we rewound it and all this bullshit. I'm like, you didn't rewind anything.
Because, look, we know it's not happening in the movie.
No,
but it's just the weird way the guy said the line. It still got me just now when I watched it. I was like, what the hell? Like, you need subtitles when he says it.
Stop it.
They need adult supervision, apparently.
And like,
if I say it when you watch it for this thing, you're totally gonna hear it. So
no, don't say it.
Yeah, don't say it. I want to see if I can pick it out.
Yeah,
that'll be funny.
Hey, Masters, let's see who's
the
great girl killer.
Nope, someone has to win tonight. We already know who's going to win.
So. Tonight,
Barbarians has won. All right, so Steve, which one did you like more?
Barbarians. I mean, Hercules is fun. Lou Ferrigno is terrific, and even if it's not his own voice, Sybil Danning looks amazing. There's some neat moments, but I hate to put it like this, but Barbarians is a real movie. That's just it. Like it's more well thought out. It's they do more with what they have. And a movie, I was saying there, and this is going to sound terrible, but a movie like this should not be as good as it is.
Yeah.
Right. It should just
you're
be a
100%
fun,
right.
paint by the numbers, 2 goofy leads, having fun, doing silly things throughout, for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there completely stunned that this is what we got. It was totally, taking straw and making gold. So Barbarians.
Yep.
And our poll has shifted. Well, I'll talk about in a minute. All right, so Sean, which one do you like more? It's good. Does it pain you to say Barbarians?
It does, because
It pained me.
I think 5 to 10 years ago I would have said Hercules hands down, but
Yeah,
as I get old, like I grew up with both these movies, but as I get older, I think I'm a Barbarians man. I'm still a Hercules man, but if you're gonna pit the two of them together,
now you're a man.
man. Anyway. Yeah, I could sing the rest of it, but it's not safe for this.
No, don't sing it.
But yeah, Barbarians, because I connect more with the story.
Right.
I'm a big Saturday morning cartoon guy, but like I think Barbarians, like I can watch it again right now. Hercules I've seen so many times. And I'll watch it again once a year, but But yeah, Barbarians, I think, edges out now, and I love the look of it more. I appreciate that more now, perhaps because of the dearth of stuff we have today. It doesn't embrace the paperback novel like Manly Man, adventure stuff that Barbarians has. So
yeah, like I would have loved to have done. Like I wanted to do Hercules 3000. That was going to be, I was going to do a thing. Like I was going to do a Barbarian thing, because I've got my pulpish, I got my sci-fi character Morn. I've got my pulp character Strong Arm. I wanted to do, and I've got Dark Assassin, who's like my vigilante character. I wanted to do like a He-Man-ish thing. And I was like, well, what if I just take Hercules and I do Hercules 3000, and he's been alive this entire time, right? He's been living, and he is a hero. And then that way you could still do futuristic things, right? Because it's in the year 3000, the year 3000. So you still do, you could still do, I know it's 2000, I'm missing it.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, you could do the futuristic-y things and still have sort of like, the mythical stuff, because those creatures are still around to fight him and whatnot. It's kind of like, it's not Magnus Robot Fighter exactly. This is before I knew what Magnus Robot Fighter was. And I found that, I was like, this is kind of like what I was thinking, but whatever. Anyway, so I came up with Magnus Robot. No, I'm not. No, I didn't.
No. Jennifer Lawrence came up with Magnus Robot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize to Miss Lawrence. But anyways, it's like, but I saw Barbarians. I'm like, okay, that's it. I need to make the Barbarians movie like ASAP, and I would make it really awesome. That's why I introduced them in the
I'm loving that
in the your Facebook group. So that was the most beautiful like way to bring them in. I was like, oh, I could bring the Barbarians in on this one. I like
it. I warned Benny. He was in the group where I shared the link. He's like, Hercules all the way, gold trophy, emoji, everything. And I went, I don't know if I'd make that bet. I didn't know, but I was like, I don't know if I'd make that bet.
Yeah, because I'm a He-Man. Well, Charlie's a He-Man guy. We're both like, and Sean's He-Man. So he's got the thing right there. He's got Battle Cat right there. Yeah. And the thing is like, this is closer to what He-Man is, and they look like they look like He-Man. Charlie, you said this right away, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. You can always whatever I pretend to say just sounds smart. Once you remove all that away, you're like, yeah, Jay just wants He-Man characters. It's like all this smart talk, all this the pacing, and it's no, I don't care. I want Barbarian figures.
They up armor in this thing, and it's like the armor's falling off of one of them at one time. It's like, the strap broke, just like it does on my He-Man figures.
Yes,
he's got the man-at arm, but it's in scales, but it's the whole shoulder piece.
Freaking awesome.
I was like, it's just straight up. They're live action figures.
Yeah.
The second they got the armor, I was like, this movie's better than Lou Ferrigno. Like literally, that forget all the other garbage. It's like, as soon as I got to that point, I'm like, oh, because Sean knows this too. When guys level up, when they get pumped up and get their big thing.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah. When Skeletor had the gold costume,
gold armor,
gold armor Skeletor, I was like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened in cinema. Like I'm like, this is insane. Like
Yeah.
Skeletor is like a god.
It's God Skeletor now.
God Skeletor is the best thing ever. All right, Charlie. Well, we know you like Barbarians, so go ahead.
It's
say your piece.
Barbarians 1,000%. Like, there's nothing wrong with Hercules. There's no reason no one should not like that movie. It was just me going back now as an adult trying to watch. As a kid, I probably enjoyed the hell out of it.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't care about the story or anything like that. It was just, oh, it's cool. And now there's robots they're fighting. But Barbarians it has staying power. Steven said it perfectly. This movie has no right to be as good as it is. Like it should have been just this little footnote in the history of canon, like so many movies are from them. But no, this one just is elevated so much higher. And it's when people laugh about this movie, you're just like, yeah, you either haven't watched it in a long time, have never watched it, or you're just a miserable person in life, because this movie is so much fun. I can watch it anytime. I love that it's on Prime. I can just throw it on, and my son hasn't watched it yet, and I can't wait for him to watch it. You know, he's 16 now, so it's like, okay, I don't care about the boobs and stuff as much. And it's not overt in this movie either. Like they could have gone really lewd, but they don't. Like even the camera cuts away whenever the girl dog pile on him.
Yeah.
And it's all wink and nod stuff. I mean, you see boobs, but that's about it. You know, and like you said, there's no sexual tension with them and Kara because it's brother sister. You know, it totally works. I love this movie, man. I love the Barbarian brothers. It sucks that one of them's dead. And I wish there was action figures for them. I wish someone would make the Barbarian brothers like from all their movies. You know, give me the two cops. Give me the Barbarians. Give me, everything they've done.
Twin sitters. Like
Twin sitters.
I would totally be down for that.
DC Cab. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the DC Cab poster, which I forgot that.
He has
that's a great poster.
That's the greatest poster ever, man.
Oh, I have it, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got that poster. I was so happy when I acquired that one. I was like,
I dragged my parents to see that movie. And I watch it now, and it's like I think it's fun, but it is bad. It's like
but whatever.
But there's no, as long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. And people there's nothing wrong with enjoying Hercules. We just put it up against one of the trials of Hercules that he fails, and that's against the Barbarian brothers.
So here we go. I'll show everybody. Here's where we're at. So the Barbarians has moved forward. Next week is next Friday. Sean and I are going to be doing a Days of High Adventure, which is going to be G.I. Joe, the movie, the animated movie.
Oh, the animated.
So because we did Transformers last time, so people are like, let's just do G.I. Joe. So we're going to do G.I. Joe.
We're just married this greatest movie.
Yeah. So that's going to give us 2 weeks. I have to clip that because I say it all the time.
Yeah, you have to.
2 weeks. So 2 weeks. Did you want to do? What do you guys want to do next? Do you want to finish off the left side, or do you want to move on to one of them? You want to do one of the ones on the right side?
I think if we want to go more into not quite as silly of a Barbarian movie, I kind of lean towards Conquest and Deathstalker myself.
Yep. You guys want to do that?
I'm good with that.
Cool.
Yeah. Conquest.
Hawk is not meant to be a comedy, but it does get very silly. There's literally a point where I always yell "silly string of doom," and that's a scene in this movie. So yeah, I say we get into some like dark and tons of boobs.
Yeah, like Conquest is pretty rough.
It's all boob. All boob all the
Delicious.
time.
Yeah.
But
I only think that the girl that gets wishboned, but whatever.
But that's has a lot of
wishboned in Terrifier is still terrifying.
Yeah, Terrifier was not pretty.
No.
I just got the Terrifier set from Umbrella Entertainment. I posted a video.
Did you get the 2-pack? Is that what the
No, it's like you get the sunglasses, like the
collector set.
It's like the whole big mega set. So
that's who I got my Megaforce was through Umbrella, which came with like everything they could put Megaforce on.
Oh,
that's how I got that.
Man.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Was that all region? Because it says all region, but I didn't test it yet. It is
all
okay.
region. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a great
Umbrella
set.
comes out of Australia, but
It's Australia.
It's all
I knew it was
all
that because the
regional.
guy called me. He's like, "You have a package from Australia here," and I had to pay duty on it. I was like, "Stay
Oh,
where
that's
you
right.
are. I'm running
You
down."
guys got to do that. Yeah, we don't have to, but I get a package. It's like Australia. I'm like, yes, I love it.
No, I had to pay $25 on top of whatever I paid. I don't care. It's Terrifier. I knew I was gonna have to pay it.
Yeah, as long as you go into it knowing. Yeah.
Yeah, I always add $30 to anything that's a weird. That's like.
So you guys have to pay that. Say like I mail you something, you guys got to pay that on there too.
No, it's only if you get nailed. You might. I never get. They never, because usually people send me stuff that's just nothing. That's like DVD or something. But this was like a huge box of stuff.
Well, I guess I could see that because it's the size or something.
It's the size.
Size or
like,
weight.
Okay.
Like I had to pay. I mean, the only time I ever got nailed once was like I ordered a book and from Japan and I had to pay. I'm like, oh, okay, that was weird. But I didn't think I've never paid any duty from Japan because anything I order from Japan is just comic books from my wife. So it's just a book. So I don't know. It's random.
And our stuff's so much cheaper because it's considered media. So if we do books or comics or anything like that, that's media mail. It's like
I see.
Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you didn't have to pay anything. Like Steve sent you our books, right? So it just went through.
I don't.
Right?
Yeah, I don't pay anything. I just paid Steve. That's all.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do Deathstalker versus Conquest, which will be the 31st.
Sounds good.
That'll give us 2 weeks to watch them as many times as you can watch them.
I've already seen both of them quite a few times. So
I've seen them both.
Yeah.
Sean and I have seen them both together.
Oh yeah.
And so this is going to be a lot. I like Deathstalker 4 a lot.
Yes.
All the later Deathstalkers, they just get more and more insane, and I like them. But like we said, we got to start with the first one, which is how
because it's not fair. Because maybe Conquest 3 would have been like outrageous, right? Like,
right, yeah.
You know,
it would have won on insanity alone. But and I'll tell you guys now, I only watched Conquest for the first time last year.
Oh wow.
We did House by the Cemetery.
Oh, I got that too.
Yeah.
And Pete was on Tubi or something, and he found Conquest, and he goes, same director, and it's zombie like Barbarian movie. And I start watching it going, this is the greatest freaking thing ever. And I mean, I've watched it like 10 times since then. So
yeah. Charlie, the VHS of Conquest is almost unwatchable because the thing was that when they filmed it, it wasn't clear anyways. And on VHS, like if you even watch it 4 times, it's super blurry.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. But the
DVD
on up was great because
the one on Tubi was actually like you can still tell it was definitely an old transfer, but it was watchable. Like it was, I was fine with it on Tubi, so that was good.
I've got the Blu-ray, so I'm gonna watch it first time on Blu-ray. I haven't watched it. The other one was the DVD, which we'll talk, the infamous DVD that Sean had to wait 5 minutes for and complain about, but we'll talk about that on the 31st of March. Okay, guys, Sean and I are gonna be back 1 week from today talking about G.I. Joe the movie. That's gonna be a lot of fun. And Tuesday, I believe, are we good for Tuesday, Steve? No, we're not good. What's the day we're doing it?
Wednesday.
So Wednesday we're doing the wrestling stream, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that'll be that, and we're gonna do another 90s comics thing for sure. We're still gonna do that, and we still got to do a classic comics. I'm waiting for something to come out that's like, maybe we could do. I was thinking of doing a Captain Marvel thing. I don't really know which Shazam one to do. Like maybe when Superman presents Captain Marvel, like that issue.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
that might be a cool. I actually own that issue.
I remember that cover.
Cool.
I'm not a big DC guy, but I actually remember that cover.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. So we'll figure something out. The only one I have scheduled for sure is the G.I. Joe, and the other ones we'll go from there.
Are you guys not doing John Wick 4 opening night? Isn't that the 24th?
That's the Thursday. So that's why I'm not doing. Yeah. What is the opening night is Thursday, right?
Yeah. It may be Thursday night that it comes out, but I think it's listed as the 24th for my theaters or something.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we usually go. Yeah, we're going on the 23rd.
Okay.
I usually like dude. I'm like the second any pre-order thing comes up, I get it.
Yeah.
Like I'm J29.
I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah. Like for anything like Shazam, Mario Brothers, the John Wick, Flash, whenever that happens.
Yeah.
It's like second I immediately go and I get those seats for the opening night, the night before, whatever.
Right.
It's usually like a 7 p.m. show or something. So it's not too late. It's not like a midnight.
No,
show.
it's not the midnight showings. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's not the
think
midnight. It's the 7. So that's pretty good.
Right.
But all right, guys. Well, that is it. Hopefully we'll see you next Friday. If not, the Friday after that, we'll be back to continue this tournament. So take care, everybody.
Hey friends, you've just been listening to J-Man, and he is the smartest person who ever lived. So make sure you like and subscribe.